Hello, speed gaming viewers. Welcome to another Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 3 Invitational race. We are in Week 2. It's open. On the left side of the screen, we have Wulfy representing Never Do Chickens. And on the right side, we've got Scaryolive representing 2 Pearl, 2 Furious. Both of these teams are at 6 and 6 points each. So we are currently tied in their division. And this will be, I think, the last their second race of Week 2. I am Adalor. In the booth today with me is Ruvian. How are you today, friend?
We're still waking up, but we're ready for some rando, and this should be just as good as the first race that we had this week between these two teams. That one ended up being quite the tilt that was decided quite literally by one item location, as these are.
Yeah, sometimes that's all it takes is one item being in a dumb spot, and that's rando for you. And somebody just got to get there first. Anything can happen with any potential shuffle, so it's hard to predict how this match will go. But what we know for sure, these two are very high tier runners, and we should see at least a very well executed race.
Yeah, both of these teams have shown us what it's like to play an invitational. We've had some very close games, not just this week, but all through both weeks of the competition so far. As we kick off the final day of Week 2, our last set of open matches today on Speed Gaming, let's see what we've got from these two runners today.
It's Sunday! And here we go.
And there's your key to Dark Cross sitting in the Sanctuary. A very interesting beginning here. And we see both of our runners decide to start up at Sanctuary today.
Interesting. It's been interesting seeing there's been a lot of variants, because usually you think like, oh, Uncle Start, it's very popular, everyone does it, but not everyone does it. I've been seeing a lot of double Sank starts in this this open week in particular, so it's kind of interesting. I've been seeing a lot of contention on whether to check Lumberjack too, because it seems like I've seen more runners lately in Invitational actually checking it and just going for that safe information knowledge.
Speaking of checking it, we've got to look at it from Wulfy, and today it's a bow.
Oh wow! Okay. So there's always a chance that that's not the only bow we can access. There might be another one in the wild somewhere that we can get to, but there's a good chance this is an Agaseed.
Yeah, it's probably one of the few items you don't want to see up there, except for maybe a fetch quest or a moon pearl. That bow is very likely to be something that you might want, depending on where that other bow happens to be. If it's in GT, you need that to finish the seed anyway.
We got ourselves a blue bottle at Mushroom Spot. No one's going to complain about that. And a map check. I think I saw crystals at Hera and Desert.
And that was a blue pendant on Eastern, so right away, you're already thinking that could be your logical silvers, but that also means that bow might not actually be required to get into GT in the first place.
Nice 3 bombs in the house. I'll not going to complain about that either.
And it looks like Scaryolive is going to go ahead and do the South Kakariko route. Get a couple bombs from these 50-50 bushes here.
Yeah, it's an interesting route. You go through the bushes there, hope to get a couple bombs out of the 50-50s, and if you don't have to buy a bomb, if you're low on bombs at the beginning, it can be faster by not having to buy them. It kind of just depends on how the opening works out. Heart piece on race game, I'm not going to bother with that. Library is just a big 20, not going to bother with that either.
And it's nice to be able to skip a lot of these visual checks by having a look at them, because it just takes so much extra time to have to route in, say, flippers on the library, depending on how late your boots come into the seed. Now, whereas that bottle in the forest means we're going to be able to see the sick kid, and that makes this a little bit kinder moving forward here, instead of having to double back Gives you less of a reason to have to make multiple trips to Kakariko. 300 rupees is nice to find early, though.
Yeah, that sets us for early game in terms of bottle vendor, if we need to buy bombs, all that good stuff. And Olive's just going to say, I'm going to just drop some extra bombs because I'm buying 10 anyway.
Now, it's kind of curious with this many checks that we still have to make in Kakariko to buy 10 bombs just now.
Yeah, because they've already done the woods, so it's not like they're going to get out of Kakariko and head north. Yeah, I mean, you've got a bunch of checks left there. You can easily find more bombs. Looks like they're both going to go for the purchase. Okay. They are pretty much step for step so far.
I always snorted that vanilla 10 arrows in the chicken house.
Was that what's there in vanilla? Okay.
Yep. And 10 arrows off the bottle vendor. So far, and we're getting into the most dense checks here in Kakariko, not seeing much for our runners to play with. Just a little bit of money.
All those arrows for that bow we don't have yet.
Well, now we can swing around a net, and there's your hammer. Hammer's a very nice thing to have.
It's one of the most important items in terms of progression, so it's very good to find early because you know you're not going to hunt for it later or be locked out of a bunch of places.
And we also saw the bug net and our first shield in Cackwell, and now Olive is going to step into Blind Sut and see what treasures await us in here.
Hello, Samaria. Also a great item to have. Doesn't necessarily do a lot early game, but you like having it so you know you can get to places later. And a glove. This is looking to be a decent Kakariko.
Yeah, that glove means we're probably going to see back of Escape here, but Samaria coming in a little bit early. It's going to be nice for a lot of the dungeon routing in the Dark World. It's not going to tell us too much until we see a Dark World map, just how much it's going to gate on this seed.
Yeah, we'll need to know which dungeons are required, of course, before we know really how important of a pickup that is.
And here comes Scaryolive with that check of the back of Escape. Now with the glove and the hammer, all we need now is a Moon Pearl, and we can step into the Dark World.
Interesting routing. They've both played it to where they've set themselves up to save and quit out of Blind's hideout, and looks like Wulfy is going to not go right for back of Escape, which proves to be just some stuff, nothing really important. He's going to head for South Shore.
Now, what the map tells you there is you have a guaranteed item in Dark Cross, and there's also going to be 3 items in the front. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not either of these players decide to go into Escape at some point. Now, for now, we're just going to see the usual South Shore checks. Just another piece of heart waiting in the dam. We get to see what's wet underneath.
Sunken treasure today. Ooh, a sword. I was thinking a sword would be nice. They might be a little rusty. May have to give that some polish and some sharpening.
I was actually going to ask if you had any thoughts on whether or not a swordless early Dark World would be something to see here.
I was thinking about the same thing. We should have had that conversation, apparently.
One thing's for certain, that sword's going to make it a little bit easier to do Mini Moldworm Cave.
Yeah, not going to rely on bombs or Samaria blocks or anything here, but you still can use bombs to get over the pits. It's if the RNG is nice, it can be easier. Blue and powder and a pearl. This is one heck of a Mini Moldworm Cave. We've got some lag on the 4th chest. We'll have to wait and see what Olive finds here.
And talking about early Dark World, we only have 3 hearts still. Unless there's a heart container sitting here, there is not. So it's looking like we're going to have to go find somewhere else to be here.
So yeah, blue mail, a pearl, and powder in Mini Moldworm. That's going to give us Dark World access. So it looks like Wulfy's going to jump in the south of house portal. We got red crystals at Skull and Mire, and I missed the rest because it was too fast.
Pretty sure I saw a green pendant on Swamp, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is, and that is a crystal sitting on Palace of Darkness, so if we don't see another bow, Aghanim 1 will be hard required.
And Pendant Thieves. Oh, Pendant Thieves. Here we go again.
Your history with Pendant Thieves is noteworthy.
There's a bunch of hearts. We're immediately shooting up 5 here, so that's a lot better than 3 for early Dark World.
Yeah, finally some HP for our runners. Going into, having the blue mail going into the Dark World is definitely much better than being in green mail with 3, but we didn't see that first check. It's another bottle, so we have 2 blue potions in hand already.
Awfully nice, considering... Yeah, I mean, no one's... You don't have to buy any blue... If you get all your blue potions just given to you by the sea, like... I'll take it. Yeah, not a great hype cave, like, under normal consideration, but, like, still, early Dark World, when you get boosted from 3 hearts to 5, we're not going to complain. That is a Fire Rod on Stumpy.
That Fire Rod is great when you see Skull Woods is a crystal, and that, unfortunately, we'll have to hope for bits on Race Game if we want to just take the easy way into Village of Outcasts. This is where you see our first divergence, as Scaryolive's going to go check the pyramid.
Wulfy's heading over to the dig game, going to pay 80 rupees, and 1 to 30 digs will cough up an item for us. What's on the pyramid ledge? The arrow.
Silly arrow, you don't belong there. And I think I like this call from Scaryolive as well to go up to Catfish on this eastern route of the Dark World. I think you kind of have to. You don't have a mirror, and you're not going to make it back up here in any short span of time.
Yeah, that lets you, and there's a heart piece at dig game after almost 30 digs. Yeah, I think that lets you can just knock this out, and then you're not feeling so worried about combining Catfish's aura later. You gotta wait for the mirror. So you can, later on, you can just fake flipper to Zora without having to worry about Catfish later.
Now it's Wulfy's turn to dive into the back of Escape, and now having a sword, I would be curious as to whether or not he's going to go ahead and check Dark Cross.
Ooh, hello Catfish, having a flute for us today.
And that is actually a really good find for Scaryolive because of how isolated Catfish is going to be. Wulfy doesn't have any reason to go in that direction anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, if Wulfy decides not to make the same call and just kind of go for it as by itself, you're going to hope that he finds the mirror soon, and then that will give him more motivation to go up there and then combine it with the Zora's area checks.
Check this little bit of lockstep from these 2 runners. They were literally pixel for pixel for the first 2 screens after the save and quit. It looks like Wulfy's going to go for the mountain here.
I like it. It's at the very least you can get the save and quit point. Unfortunately, he's doing a little bit slow because we know we already have access to the flute. So, but he doesn't know that yet. Maybe we get lucky and find a vanilla mirror, and then he gets to go up the mountain.
Mirror or hookshot would give you plenty to do on Death Mountain. And remembering that we do have powder, Scaryolive is going to go visit the Magic Bat.
Oh, there's a bow on Old Man.
No.
Okay, so forget Aghanim. We've got our bow. We're fine.
What's interesting, though, is you might actually end up seeing both runners not even find the lamp at this point. With the location of that bow, it is technically out of logic. However, at this caliber, you're in Invitationals, you don't need a lamp.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, Invitational, there's no chance that either of these guys will put in the several minutes that's required to get that bow off of the lumberjack ledge. We're 100% seeing a silverless ending for both of these guys.
So we lost about 20 or 30 seconds from Wulfy. Didn't get to see what was waiting on Death Mountain. We'll have to have another look when Scaryolive gives us a view here. Wulfy is making his way over towards Sahasrahla and possibly a dive into Eastern or Pod.
I'd say we can hope for a menu from Wulfy, but I'm quite sure he's very good with quick swap because he plays a lot of cross keys and mystery and whatnot. So it's likely he may just never menu. Saha's Closet has just some bombs on 25 rupees. All right.
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing waiting in there for us. This is what we didn't get to see was up here on Spectacle Rock. Of course, one item locked by the mirror, and the other one, we have no idea what it is yet.
So Wulfy's checked back Saha's Closet. It looks like he's going to go straight for the pod area. Interesting play. We do have a hammer and a bow, so pod is pretty much completable. I mean, some of it's going to be in the dark and out of logic, of course, but again, invitational. I'm sure these guys can handle it no problem. And Scaryolive is going to make the same play, of course, made faster by the fact that he has the flute. So we can hope that maybe Wulfy, after pod, decides to go to Pyramid Catfish.
There's one thing Wulfy has that Scaryolive doesn't have in this position is he has the check of Sahasrahla, which, not having a mirror yet, Olive cannot do. So that may come back into play later on if we end up looking for any particular item, like, for example, that ice rod could be anywhere.
Yeah, especially since also Eastern is a pendant dungeon, so you gotta be wondering, like, are these guys thinking, man, when do I have to go into pendant Eastern to look for progression? We'll have to see how that works out. Because if pod doesn't kick out a mirror, then of course that whole area is a little less convenient to get to.
Talking about pod not kicking out a mirror, already routing pod without a mirror, a little bit of a trick to have to do here.
Yeah, mirrorless pod routing is it requires some thought and really paying attention to the keys, because sometimes the key logic can make you have to do some less than optimal choices in this dungeon. But yeah, that's a point out. Trinex is making a good point here, actually. Wulfy does have the fire rod, which, assuming they do get entirely through this dungeon, which I don't see why they wouldn't, will be a giant help in the terminal room in the basement.
Not only that, but depending on how Scaryolive decides to tackle Village of Outcasts, he could choose to dive into the front of Skull Woods looking for progression, when that fire rod is sitting at Stumpy, just waiting to be grabbed. So Wulfy will get to dive into that once and just be done with it.
With bow and hammer, looks like we're going to see just a full clear of the front 6 chests, and without the mirror, this is honestly pretty fine. And then you go right to the right side, you get to hammer and go to the left and go to the back. So this works out just fine. And then you'll know for sure, actually, by getting the front 6, whether Hellway is a small key and can be skipped. So we got 3 keys and a map so far. So if the right 2 chests only kick out 1 key, then we're very likely to have a Hellway key.
The map is also interesting because it does put another item back in possibly the dark maze, and neither of our runners having the lamp will have to traverse it in the dark.
No items so far. Well, yeah, I want to see what the right 2 chests kick out here, but yeah, dark maze is of course completely out of logic. There's no torches in there, so without the lamp, any items in there, the game doesn't expect you to have them yet, but that's not going to stop these 2.
We did see Scaryolive stop and grab a fairy, and that was a compass just sitting on that first check on the right side. So we know all of our items are in the back or on Helma.
That's Palace of Darkness, party in the back. Looks like Wulfy is opting for a Death Warp here. Interesting. I wonder what his logic is for this.
I actually think this is faster.
Is it? Than just going Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you might be right because then you can just reset it and walk from the bridge. Yeah, that's fine.
Just walk in. Normally, if you have boots, you can just bonk across, but not having that, you have to go ahead and walk through, deal with the hard hat beetles, and then flip the switch again and walk up. This you can just jump right through.
Yeah, no, you're right. The hard hat beetles, in particular, lacking the equipment to really deal with them. That's a good choice.
And we'll see. That's what Scaryolive is going to do here. Is they're going to grab Samaria and have to play dodge the beetle for a couple seconds. So the big key's still at large here somewhere.
One key in the Rippy basement, and there's our Burno. We've got an invulnerability item.
And that Burno actually opens up another location for us as well, as it gives us Spike Cave. Not something you really want to be thinking about this early.
Hellway gives us a big 20. Still nothing big coming in a pod just yet.
So another thing Wulfy's going to be able to do here is tackling this with the key from the front. He can death warp to the front entrance of pod. Scaryolive with that fairy. It'll be interesting to see how he tackles the Dark Maze. You might see a hammer yump.
Yep, there's the big key in the top of Dark Maze. Now it looks like neither of these guys opted for a hammer yump, which is it's more common to see in mirrorless pod because you can kind of just go reverse through Dark Maze and not have to worry about having a death warp or anything back here. Wulfy actually got really beat up by the Kodandos and had to burn one of his blue potions.
Yeah, not being able to see these guys in the dark, as soon as they spit flame and you get hit by one, that flame lingers for a good 5 seconds, and every time it hits you, it hurts.
Hello, half magic.
That's never something you're going to complain about seeing?
Oh, definitely not. One of the best, just nice items to have in the game. And a big 20 in the big chest. So pod really doesn't have much for items. I think there's one in Helmasar still, but I think so.
Yeah, there has to be.
We've already seen
the dungeon items.
Yeah. And now the fun part of trying to death warp in Dark Maze when you cannot see where the Kodandos are. Wulfy is just going to hit himself with a bunch of bombs, and Scaryolive's poking around trying to find some fire. And yeah, you got to burn some bombs here.
And Wulfy is actually 1 bomb short from being able to death warp here, and I think Wulfy's dispatched all the Kodandos, so he's going to have to walk out.
Oh, there's at least one up there somewhere.
There's one left.
Oh, 2 actually. Okay. Again, that kind of shows you that the hammer jump really can be good for routing mirrorless pod because then you don't have to worry about death warping. But that's kind of dependent on where you find the big key. So in this case, the big key was in Dark Maze, so it's if you hammer jump there, you have to go back through Dark Maze to get to the big chest. So it's not always as viable as it should be.
So Scaryolive did drop that fairy on the way through the Dark Maze to death warp, but picked up another one on the way to Helma. Again, he doesn't have a fire source, so this is going to be an interesting basement for him.
Yeah, we've got Wulfy with a fire rod and 1 blue potion. Scaryolive's no fire rod, but a blue and a fairy. So this will be... yeah, this is the hard part of pod, especially when you don't have any light for the turtle room in particular, especially with just a hammer for your best weapons. Yeah, this will be interesting. It's really hard to tell what's going on, too, because as a runner, when you're playing it, you get to at least use your sound cues and whatnot and kind of feel out where the turtles are. With us on Restream, I guess actually we do have Olive sounds. We might be able to get a good feel for what's going on here.
So the other thing, too, is the only two items that Olive had to hit that switch with were the Samaria and the bow. And Wulfy making very quick work of that room with the fire rod to light a torch. So he'll be the first into Helma.
Olive is playing whack-a-mole in the dark here. I think he's got 1 down, 2 down so far. 3, 4. That's 5.
Yeah, and again, without Fire Rod, this is extremely difficult because you can't tell where those turtles are until they hit you, or you hit them.
Even when you do hit it, you're not sure where exactly it is. And then if you hammer swing and you miss, you're not sure whether you popped it up again. It's... There, you got it. That's 6. Okay.
And that is why you grab a fairy. If you have that bottle and that bug net, don't be afraid to abuse it. It is possibly the most underrated safety in this game.
Yeah, people like to mock bug net for being a swag item, but with this kind of situation where you only have 5 hearts and you're in Dark World dungeons with doing stuff in the dark, literally, like, don't knock fairies. They may very well literally save your life. Wulfy is taking down Helmasar with no issues whatsoever. He's got his first crystal. And assuming nothing bad happens here, which again, Olive has a fairy and a blue potion, should be able to take down Helmasar no problem. They'll be tied up 1-to-1 soon enough.
And there it is, Helmasar down for Scaryolive as well.
Rewarded with a vanilla boss heart. Is this even random? Alright, so next decisions here. Looks like Wulfy is going to head to Village. I can't imagine we'll see Skullwoods put off for very long, if at all, because again, we do have that. He does have that fire rod. He may very well go straight to the back of Skull.
Yeah, if you have the Fire Rod and you're confident in your abilities, and again, we're an Invitational, most if not all of these players are, we're going to see a Mothula probably in a minute or two here.
Yep, he's going to go right for it. So yeah, this is our interesting item divergence so far. We've got Wulfy with the Fire Rod, but Scaryolive with the Flute. And they both have advantages and disadvantages, of course, from that. So if Scaryolive decides to maybe check the front of Skull, depending on what items it kicks out and where they are, this Fire Rod could turn into a bigger advantage for Wulfy than is currently apparent.
The one thing I'd be worried about finding in this situation for Wulfy would be the mitts. Because right now mitts are getting a good amount of checks that we can access readily. So is the mirror, to be honest.
Got the big key in the vanilla big key chest of Skullwoods. And he will head straight to the back, as you like to do with Fire Rod. Especially if you know you're going to kill Mothula because it's a crystal, you may as well just do the back first. And Olive is indeed checking front of Skullwoods.
Right, this will be interesting if there are 1 or 2 items in back here with Mothula. Does that mean that could mean that Fire Rod is going to force Olive to have to come back and get something potentially important?
Yeah.
I do like the call from Wulfy to get that middle section item as well. Oh, there's the mitts. That's what I was worried about.
All right, so Wulfy will be not too long off from getting that, of course, because he'll be heading through the front section of Skullwoods after he's done with the back.
Yeah, the mid on its own doesn't do too much for us. We can sequence break into Ice Palace. We can get a couple checks like Smith Chain. In fact, that's probably going to lead Olive to the Fire Rod sooner rather than later.
Yeah, considering he hasn't done the south bit yet, it'll be easy to just clean those up after getting the village itself knocked out. Especially with Mitts now, you can just grab the frog and do a little bit of a tour and then figure out where to go next. Wulfy's taking down Mothula, no problem. Get the compass for his effort. So he's found no items yet. So and Scaryolive found one. We're still waiting on the other item out of Skull Woods.
All right, we're going to glean our first look into Village of Outcasts, Z-shaped house for Scaryolive. And Wulfy's going to have a dive back into the back of Skull Woods here for what could be an item in this bridge chest.
I think we're looking at the item either being in the bridge chest or the big chest itself.
Yeah, I thought it was curious that Olive dipped out without checking the middle chest. There's your second item. Unfortunately, it's not really much of any importance, but it's still nice to have. It does make death warping a little bit more, a couple seconds longer.
Got to take one more hit on the Gibdos, yeah. I mean, 7 hearts over 6, though, is still this kind of early Dark World situation. Still not complaining.
So here's your pendant, Thieves Town. Adalor, do you want to shed a little bit of light on how much love you have for this dungeon?
It's Pendant Thieves. We have a relationship, particularly if it's green. The relationship I have with Pendant Thieves Town, if it's green pendant, is it gets full cleared every time. I don't care. I'm getting every item in this dungeon. You can't stop me. I'm an adult. I do what I want.
We have seen some instances where Pendant Thieves Town had a last location medallion for runners in the past. This could be a good play for Scaryolive depending on how they take it. It's really a 50-50 depending on how many items actually show up in the front.
Yeah, it's pretty common to see, depending on the front item count, to have them just bail out completely out of Pendant Thieves. This could be a really big kind of gamble point of the race.
That's 3 items in back, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like he's going to say no.
Just going to take one and call it good. Okay.
Did Wulfy not go to the front of Skull Woods?
He didn't. Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
that's an interesting call.
We had a red rupee and a piece of heart in the front of Thieves Town, so it's a split, 2 items in the back. I think that makes it a little bit more easy to decide not to go back in.
Yeah, if you got 2, that's not so bad, no. Very curious why Wulfy's decided to not clean up Skull Woods. We know, of course, he's missing his mitts there, which is absolutely required. You're gonna want that for later. Very curious indeed.
I'm actually thinking he might go ahead and full clear Thieves Town now, because he's going to start running out of locations very shortly here.
Yeah, at this point, for his sake, we can only hope that he finds something absolutely necessary, like a hook shot or flippers. No, we don't need flippers strictly. Let's just hope he finds like a hook shot or something that we really need, because otherwise he's going to be like just falling behind a lot more in terms of just progression items.
The 2 big ones for me here are hook shot or mirror.
Yeah, mirror would also be huge, because actually if he finds mirror and somehow goes back of Skull Wood or front of Skull Woods and gets his mitts, then it's okay. But, yeah.
Yeah, mostly right now we're down 2 major items of progression. We have mitts and we have flute, both which are required to get into mire.
All right, let's see if he death warps here.
And here's Olive getting his fire rod.
And Wulfy's going to clear Thieves Town.
I think, for Wulfy, from his standpoint, this is the right call. You have to do this. It's literally the most clearing potential you have in the seat at the moment.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there. It's just, it's unfortunate that we know where 2 of his items are, and he hasn't picked up yet.
So, a mirrorless smith chain for Scaryolive. Never the way you want to draw that up.
It's inefficient, but sometimes you gotta. Sometimes there's a mirror in purple chest.
And sometimes they're breadsmiths.
Yeah, sometimes you get the Smiths are making the power bread today, which raises your max hit points. I'm glad someone got it.
I thought that was called cheerful bread, to be honest.
Nope, it was the power bread.
What am I thinking of? The Shining series? Anyway,
Maybe.
Olive
Now we're
is taking
thinking
the
like
fire
this.
rod to Mothula here.
Name that reference. Yep, he's going to head for the back. He'll be getting his 8th heart off of the bridge chest, assumedly, and Crystal to catch up with Wulfy. Meanwhile, Wulfy is in the basement of Thieves Town. We found just, I think, a map in the attic, so we're still on the hunt for 2 items.
The other thing we haven't seen yet is the key, and if it's not in Maiden Chest, then we have an item on blind and nothing else to look at. But of course it is.
There's that key. Since we do generally play on inventory item placement logic, that means the keys can lock themselves in certain dungeons, Thieves Town being one of them. Ooh, hello, red mail. All right, well, that's fine. I can't imagine Olive will be ever getting that.
Yeah, it's another one of those items that are nice to have, but not necessarily something you have to have.
All right, and here comes Blind. Of course, Blind being the scripted fight it is, and with these runners being of the high caliber that they are, you expect to see basically a perfect fight or a near perfect fight at a Wulfy, and he delivers no problem. And just a heart piece for his troubles, so really not much in Thieves Town.
Yeah, nothing there for Thieves Town, and Scaryolive, once again picking up a fairy for the moth fight, doesn't need it. Gets a compass off of Mothula and his second crystal.
Yeah, we're 3 dungeons to 2, but 2 crystals each so far.
Now he still has 1 item to go pick up out of the bridge chest, so we'll probably see him go back in for that. And I think Wulfy has realized...
Yes.
He has realized that he has not gotten the second item out of Skullwoods, and he's going back. He'll have his mitts in just a moment.
All right, so you won't be missing those any longer. Good deal. That's really going to kind of... I mean, you need those mitts. You need them to do a lot of things.
I'm still a little bit worried that the mitts are going to put him in a direction that we don't want to go.
Yeah, I mean, it does open up a lot, and we really do need him to go to Catfish to get his flute, of course. Hopefully... like I said, I'm really hoping we find a mirror soon so that he can go like Catfish Zora and feel more inclined to go there.
The other thing you're kind of hoping for is that you end up on a medallion hunt. There's nothing here in the Mire area, as Olive has the ability to check that now. We see the entrance for Mire today is a little squiggly coin known as Quake. Of course, neither of our runners have seen any medallions as of yet, so... Yeah, there's still that front of escape looming that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, nobody's gone to the front of Castle yet. It's completely Sphere 1. There could be some very early progression items hiding out in there.
And it's easy to understand why you might not want to do this. It's a lot nicer a lot of the time to route escape with Mirror, but if Mirror is in escape, then we're holding off on that for so long.
We'll be having a little bit of indecision, it looks like. I wonder if he's heading for Castle now. Nope, he's going to go... Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, he is going to
going
castle.
north. Okay. Just didn't jump. He jumped off in a weird way and kind of juked me for a moment. But all right. So now
And
we'll get this
Olive-
information.
Olive is going for Spike Cave.
Interesting. This is it's not it's kind of it's isolating in a way. It's you're going for a check that you may end up isolating later. It's definitely in logic. We have the invulnerability items, so this is a completely logical item to get.
If this is something for Olive, this is huge, because as soon as we found the Burna in Piles of Darkness, this was in play. Fortunately, it's just 50, so that's just one check you don't have to worry about later on.
Yeah, it does kind of help out when you are cleaning up your mountain. You don't have to worry about ending your routing at Spike Cave. So, knocking it out right now, that can save you a little bit of time later.
So I think now Olive's going to grab the purple chest and go down that way. I don't think yeah, he did Hype Cave East the first time.
Yeah,
so
they both
Wulfy's
started at
going to
Hype
give
Cave.
us some new information here.
We saw Bumper Ledge already. I think that was just a heart piece. 300 rupees in the first chest in Castle. Yep, this will be hammer pegs and purple chest on Olive's side. Purple chest, a little inconvenient without the mirror, but you have to save and quit with it, but at least we have flute, so we can go to 7.
Yeah, all this really does is it pushes the mirror checks into being more isolated than they already are.
Just a big 20 in hammer pegs. We are still hunting for progression. How long until we have to go independent Eastern? That's what I'm starting to wonder at this point.
See, how long for that, and who's going to go there first? That's my question.
Yes, Scaryolive did check Magic Bat, and it was just a 10 arrow pack. And the castle kicks out nothing for us in the front 3. We got just bombs in the cell chest.
And now Wulfy's going to have to take this very long Death Warp to get and check the Dark Cross item, because there is an item waiting for us there.
Purple chest has a big 20, and Olive's going to walk over and at least check Agina.
And I'm seeing in chat someone saying, go for Ice Palace, go for Zora. I think Zora's been on the table for a while. I know at least Wulfy can splash delete to get whatever item might be blocked by flippers on the ledge. I think it's actually not a bad call.
Agina's got a heart piece, still looking for progression. And Wulfy is indeed heading for Dark Cross in the dark. But this is completely logical. There are torches in every room on the way, so this could actually be required.
This may be Olive's play for escape now. It is.
Well, that's our third bottle in Dark Cross. Nice to have, but not what we need.
So still not a lot of anything really going on for our runners on this seed.
Pendant Eastern?
Pendant Eastern? Pendant Eastern into... Oh, he's going to splash delete, watch.
Oh, he was cycling to Samaria. I was thinking about it. Oh, there's a
Look
lamp
at
on
what
the
that
island.
is.
Oh,
What is that
wow,
doing
okay.
there?
He's done it. Well, he made that look easy. Wow, okay. So a little bit of technical explanation there. Basically, you overload the 5 Ancilla slots by dropping down some combination of arrows, bombs, Samaria blocks, red boomerangs, etc., to the point where the game can't generate the animation it needs to do the splash when you enter the water. And because it can't make the splash, it forgets to check whether you have flippers. That's a boots on hobo. We are going fast.
That is a really nice find for Wulfy. The boots locked by flippers in the logic, but getting them earlier than Olive, and probably earlier than Olive is going to think to get him.
So this is, in a way, it's a fantastic play because now you've got boots, and you're going to be going places quickly and kind of gaining time as long as you have that advantage over your opponent. But if he goes to Zora now, like, this kind of unfortunately may further isolate Catfish for him.
This kind of goes two ways here. In one way, that long check to Pyramid and Catfish is not as long now that you have the boots, which is why we see him going to Ice Rod Cave now. The other side of that, though, you have other things you can check that are locked by boots that you aren't going to be going back to that direction anytime soon if you chase.
Also, coming out of Ice Rod Cave, he can also do Master Sword in Ice Rod Cave. Nice find. We should see him set up a Water Walk. Yep, there it is. So Water Walk is very easy to set up. You just get yourself close to the pit in the Ice Rod Cave and then dash south so that you dash out of the door against the angle. And then you go one screen south and jump south into the water and magically Water Walk.
It's great that he checked Hobo before doing this because you'd otherwise have to fake Flipper out of Hobo either way. So now he's going to be able to run around all the way to Zora.
Meanwhile, on Olive's side, we see the same idea with having to do the very long Death Warp setup here. And we've got free bees. Lots of shield on Zora Ledge. We're not worried about that. Let's see what the big Scamfish has for us today. I really like this dash line through the through Zora's domain when you're water walking. All you have to do is just go against that ledge and it just works out perfectly. Or not the ledge, the diagonal. Zora's just got a bomb pack. Well.
Yeah, Wulfy's shown us through this season some very good movement with the boots already, and he's only had them for a few minutes. So now these are going to be the boots checks. And again, this is out behind Flippers in the logic here.
But of course, since Swamp Palace is not a crystal, it may be entirely possible that we just don't see the Flippers because they're not logically required. Or they're logically required, but not mechanically, because we can get to everything else we need through fake Flippers.
The big advantage here would be if Wulfy unearths something like, say, a hookshot in Bonk Rocks here, since we already saw King's Tomb was just another pack of sticks.
Sticks for everyone. Yeah, we're really hoping the boots turn into some kind of an advantage here because that will make this quite a race because these two will have enough item divergence that it's a matter of who catches up first, who finds the thing that they're missing. Nope, more sticks.
And that puts Wulfy back in that situation of not having a lot that he can look at. So I think now is where he does his Smith chain play.
Ooh, so Scaryolive has gone for the fake Flipper, but not going straight to Hobo. Makes you kind of wonder how long it'll take him to get back for that, especially if boots end up being required. We haven't seen Desert yet. There's a coin flip chance that boots are logically required, or hard required for Desert. And there's always, of course, that 1 in 22 that the Ganon's big key ends up on the torch.
So at this point, I'm starting to think, what is in Eastern Palace? Because it's bound to be something now.
Yeah, like I said, Pendant Eastern, like, nobody's touched it yet. Wulfy got close. He went to at least Saha's closet, but he bailed after that. I'm waiting for someone to go back there and find, like, a mirror or hookshot or something.
And I'd like to welcome those of you joining us from Speed Gaming 2. This is the Link to the Past Randomizer League, Week 2 of Season 3. The last day of open mode races. Today we've got Wulfy representing Never Do Chickens and Scaryolive playing Too Pearl, Too Furious team. And today, this particular seed, so far, we're dry on progression.
Wulfy splashed to leading again. Is he going for Ice Palace?
He's going
Looks
for
like
Ice Palace. Yeah, I like this call a lot.
Since you've got Mitts, a fire source, or a burning source specifically, and hammer, like you can complete ice. Okay, so Olive is floated back to 8 after getting the Zorus checks. I can't imagine he's going anywhere but Hobo at this point. Maybe he fakes to ice as well. Oh, he's going for ice too. So we're going to have simultaneous Ice Palace plays. So the big difference here is Olive does not have boots and only has one sword as opposed to Wulfy's Master Sword. So the execution in Ice Palace will definitely be trickier for Scaryolive.
Of course, our runner is going to choose not to use the switch here. We're going to be finding all 3 of the items in Ice Palace if we can help it.
Oh yeah, 100% you full clear ice. You're still searching for several items at this point. And our first item in the big key chest is a heart piece.
Yeah, Olive making good use of that good B to help take care of the Pen Gators with only a fighter sword in hand.
You should just do the bomb strat, man. It's easy. I highly recommend anyone who doesn't know the bomb strat for the Pen Gator room, look up the bomb strat. It just takes 2 bombs placed right and thrown the right way, and you can take care of all those Pen Gators. Super nice. Our second item in Ice Palace is incidentally a pack of bombs.
Yeah, that's already our second item, and we still have a map, a compass, and a key to find. So where the third item is?
Beautifully. That was super nice.
I love seeing that stair clip executed well. And I never managed to get it.
I wish I could pull it off that like first try to make it look easy. It's not that easy. There's a key in the big chest.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways you can tackle that room between boots, just pounding hammer, slashing sword, spin clipping the stairs, hook shot clipping, all sorts of fun stuff to get through that room. Ice physics in this game really not a lot of fun to have to deal with in short periods.
Definitely has some rough ice physics for sure. Ice Palace, of course, has a lot of rooms with them. So being able to navigate yourself on the ice with any of those aforementioned methods, a valuable skill to learn.
So it does look like Cold Stare has her third and final item here. Now, the biggest way this could be an advantage for Wulfy if this is something like a hook shot. Although he's still on borrowed time for as long as he dodges Catfish, because if Olive gets anything that allows him to get into Desert or into Mire, that's something Wulfy can't do right now.
Yeah, as much as we kind of want a mirror, like a mirror would actually really hurt, because that gives Scaryolive a lot more options. Whereas hookshot would be great to find, but also it kind of like, that's probably going to put him up the mountain, and that's going to be a bit tough as well, because he's still going to be dodging that flute. Meanwhile, Cold Stare, we've got half magic fire rod. You just pretty much unload all your magic, and they got a little bit. The pups got a little bit unclustered, so it wasn't quite optimal, but he still takes it down no problem. And just 50 rupees, so ice kicking out absolutely nothing for progression. We still need to do it because it's a crystal, of course, so it's good to have it knocked out. But we're still on a hunt for where our next step is.
This is where things start to get a little bit interesting, because for Wulfy, he's still got some isolated locations between the Pyramid and Catfish to go get. Neither of our runners have touched Eastern.
Pen at Eastern, I'm telling you, I've been saying it for, what, half an hour or so now? I mean, not half an hour, but long enough that it's like, man, Pen at Eastern, you got 3 items over there. Is Wulfy going for it?
He is indeed. We're going to see a Sphere 1 Pendant Dungeon possibly spit out something that both of our runners are looking for here.
I feel like, what do we want here? I feel like we might come across our flippers in here at the very least, just to kind of like, here's the early flippers, you can get those things. Because, of course, the game wants you to have the lamp, and we know that lamp is hanging out on the island, which, if that's the case, I feel like our mirror has got to be somewhere early as well, because we're really locked up by the mirror at this point in a lot of ways.
Could also be something like book. There's your hook shot.
The hook shot. You love to see it.
You love to see it. You hate to see it. Sphere 1, we could have had that in the 10th minute.
Yeah, if Wulfy had just gone into Eastern instead of bailing out for Saha's Closet, he could have had that for quite some time. But that's rando for you. Like, you make the gambles, you make the plays, and you skip certain things, you check others, and yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out in the best way.
See, that puts into conversation all of East Death Mountain, all of Dark Death Mountain except for Turtle Rock, Tower of Hera, and depending on the location of the Ice Rod and whatever medallion Turtle Rock requires, if we find it on the way, we could finish that while we're up there.
All of these things, of course, not being the flute on Catfish, but you only really need the flute to get on the mountain, and he's already got the save and quit point, so if he goes straight for a mountain, those are still things that we got to knock out eventually that the flute does not make any easier, so.
I think Olive has to do the same thing now, because even with the extra items that he has in his inventory, he's out of locations as well.
Yeah, no, he's getting very thin for both of these guys.
So, because of the location of the lamp, we know Mirror cannot be back here. And did we have the big key?
I don't think so. I wasn't paying quite attention. Missed the third chest.
See, now if that's the case, we have an item on Armos Knights, and the Mirror can't be in Eastern at all. Yeah, vanilla big key. So this is lamp locked. And that's interesting for how this logic is playing out.
Yeah, because we need the flippers and the mirror to get the lamp. So this is actually it's a pendant dungeon, so it's not really, we're not really worried too much about when this is logically completable, but this is whatever's on Armos Knights, if it's actual progression, or the big chest here, that's a compass. Yeah, if there's a big item on Armos Knights, that's really late in the logic.
And this is interesting for Scaryolive. He's going to go straight to East Death Mountain and probably unearth something that opens up Mire or Desert.
Yeah, this is interesting. He bailed immediately after hookshot.
So the only way that this works out for Wulfy, I think, is if you find something extremely isolated on Armos Knights.
I'm wondering if maybe we could, I think at this point we're hoping that there's not a lot it could be. We could see a medallion. Like, what if this is Quake back here?
If this is Quake, Olive is probably not going back to Eastern anytime soon.
No, you bail out after one. Granted, I don't blame Olive for bailing out after finding such a big item like hookshot, because that unlocks the entirety of the East Mountain. But it's extremely isolating. Yeah.
And chat pointing out, we also got the mushroom, and Olive didn't stay long enough to get that either. So that's possibly 2 locations that have that potential to burn. We see a very nice execution of the Armos quick kill from Wulfy, and that's his second pendant. That's the other advantage he has as well here.
That was a sank card action on Armos, so not progression, but yeah, their heart is nice. Quick shout out to our raiders from Speed Gaming 3. Welcome to ALTTPR League Season 3. We've got Wulfy for Never Do Chickens and Scaryolive for 2 Pearl, 2 Furious. We're just about an hour deep. We've got some interesting divergence in their items, and we're still looking for progression. But we just got the entirety of East Mountain opened up, and Scaryolive has given us the details on it.
Wulfy is going straight for that mushroom turn, and I saw a medallion up on the floating island. Did you happen to catch what it was?
It's Bombos.
Okay.
We do not know if that's necessary yet, but we will, at some point here, while Olive's on the mountain, have a look at our TR medallion requirement.
But first, we're going to see Tower of Hera. Well, actually, no. First, we're going to see the Ether Tablet, and it's a read. We can't actually get it. He actually saved a little bit of time with that raid because, you don't need another piece of heart at this point.
No. And Wulfy with the mushroom gets a red boomerang. Another Rancilla manipulation tool. Not super important. And he's already shown off that he can do Splash Release with just bombs in some area just fine. So yeah, Scaryolive ends up saving a good chunk of time by bailing out of Eastern after just one item.
So that book actually comes into very interesting conversation here. Because we were talking about earlier how Wulfy found the boots at Hobo, and so far Scaryolive has seen no reason to go check that. So now we have access to Desert, and if Desert is boots locked, that puts Wulfy in a much better situation than he is even with the flute hanging out on Catfish.
Yeah, these two have inadvertently isolated themselves out of some very important items. Both of them incidentally being mobility items. Yeah, like I said, we have yet to see if boots are really required, but at the very least, like I said earlier, it's Wulfy having the boots. He's had them for a good chunk of time now. He's getting a dash everywhere. He's still kind of mitigating the time loss of not having flute.
And that's our third shield in the big chest of Hera. And our second item waiting there in the compass chest as well. So we have both items out of Hera. We're just going to go take care of Moldorm real quick.
You like to see when you don't have to go in the basement of Hera. We'll take it.
And we call him Trolldorm for a reason. Let's see if he gets the better of Olive today.
He's bullying Olive, but hasn't knocked him off yet.
Did he have
there's
to
one.
say something?
Trolldorm gonna troll. That's 1 point for the big worm.
And it doesn't really matter what level of gameplay you're at. Moldorm's still gonna Trolldorm no matter what time of day it is.
Oh, absolutely. Like sometimes this RNG heavy fight just deals you a hand that you're just gonna lose.
Alright, so Wulfy having that book and a second sword also gives him a little bit of levity as well if something happens to be on Bombo's tablet.
Scaryolive will be the first to get the 5th crystal, actually. Yeah, we're up to 5 now. And Wulfy, of course, will be not too far behind him.
We have that potential for Turtle Rock access after this as well, but at the same time, diving TR without the Ice Rod is probably one of the last things that you want to do.
Yeah, assuming we can come up with a... we still need a medallion for it. We have no medallions so far. I mean, if we happen to stumble upon the mirror, that would be awfully convenient because you can pick up that Bombus medallion. Wolf is showing off the very nice way to acquire the Hera big chest. If you have hookshot and boots, you can just hook across and bonk yourself back without having to worry about any bomb jump shenanigans.
Now it's time for Wulfy's Moldorm fight. And of course, he has Master Sword, so he can do spins if he really wants to, but we've got the Hammer out here. It's probably going to be a similar fight to what Olive just took care of. And chat asking where the sword was that Scaryolive missed. Scaryolive skipped a sword in Ice Rod Cave. Even with the flute, he hasn't gone back to check that location. So that's the other advantage that Wulfy has, even without the flute right now, is he has more offensive power going forward no matter what.
Yeah, curious that he hasn't gone back for that with having flute, because it's not really a much of a time consumption to go check that. You can basically insert that anytime you're fluting somewhere. Super Bunny for us is going to kick out 20 rupees and a shovel. Yay,
And
fetch
the
quest.
fetch quests have intensified here. That shovel is going to draw us back into another isolated spot.
Wulfy's cleaned up Moldorm, no problem. Got his 5th crystal now. He's going to be basically right behind all of it at this point. Spiral Cave, he's got the boots. He gets to not have to do the slow walk of shame.
Oh, now that's actually really good for Wulfy, that sword and hookshot cave here, because he's going to have tempered leaving.
It's a very kind of similar advantage of having master over fighter and then temper over master. I mean, obviously, tempered sword now lets, or master sword now lets Olive get into the tablet items. He finds the ether also in the last chest.
Now that's interesting to me, because ether is what we need to get into TR. We could be looking at a logically required double dip of TR.
Yeah, I mean, you could have gone straight in for it. The only thing you're missing for TR is, of course, the ice rod. We'll have to see if maybe Wulfy makes that call for us here.
Well, we know that's what Olive is going to do, because our runners don't have a mirror. We have to go back around the long way.
You're right, it's mirrorless. That's correct, yeah. It's so weird to not have the mirror at this point. Like, usually you've stumbled upon it by now. Ice rod in TR big chest, anyone?
Another question from chat: where the boots were is hanging out with our friend under the water, under the bridge in the water. Neither of our runners have found flippers yet either, so those boots are, to our knowledge, way out of logic still. Adalor, I just want to put this little hypothetical on the table for you. We have Green Pendant Swamp Palace. It is the single most rich dungeon in the game. What do you think's waiting in there?
Quake medallion. Let's just put Quake and like left side pendant swamp and call it good. That's all. There's just one item, just one. That's okay. If we could put mirror in swamp, I would put it there, but obviously that's impossible. All right, where's Wulfy going next here? That's the question.
Wulfy deciding to save and quit to Sanctuary. I'm almost curious as to whether or not this is a play for the Smith chain now. Olive missed a torch shot, so he's going to have to go back around the long way to get into the right side of Turtle Rock here.
Nope, that doesn't hit off screen. Oh, he caused... Okay, that was actually really... He caused himself an issue there. Will it hit off screen? Okay, good. He got it. I was about to say, he almost caused himself a lot more time loss there by hitting that torch again earlier.
Yeah, and chat's discussing what Wulfy has left. Wulfy logically has left Catfish, as we know. He's doing the Smith chain now. He has hammer pegs, and there's really not a lot he can look at here. Without that flute and without going into TR, he's going to be, again, really short on options.
Yeah, so hopefully this at least pushes him to Catfish by way of having not much else to do, because we know he's got to go get that flute soon.
And that's still that advantage that he has over Olive is the boots. And again, we have the book. He can go to desert if he so chooses as well. That's probably what he's going to do here, to be completely honest with you.
Yes, I think as soon as he's got that, at least I hope so, because that will at least give us some more interesting divergence.
And one thing he could hope to find in desert here would be the ice rod. It'll be interesting to see for me whether or not he decides to go check the shovel before he turns in purple.
Yeah, lacking mirror still. We can't, of course, put those together. We know purple. Excuse me. It's just a big 20. Scaryolive finds a TR compass on the lava chest. Wulfy's picked up the purple chest, and we'll save and quit with it, and we go turn that in immediately. Yep.
And so far, nothing really unearthed in the front of Turtle Rock. We do have Laser Bridge waiting in the back, and of course, it is out of logic behind the mirror because of where the lamp is. So, mirror is not going to be in the bottom of Turtle Rock. So once again, we're at that point. Where is our progression hiding out?
I'm liking desert more and more. I think Wulfy is gonna get the he's going right for it. I like this. I like this at the point where I would be entirely unsurprised if we come up with a mirror in desert.
Oh, and those drop frames are an absolute tease. We'll have to wait a moment to see what he saw on the desert ledge.
Man, the worst time for the lag to happen.
Either way, Wulfy is going to one and done this dungeon. He has boots. Regardless of what's set up in desert, he's got it done.
Meanwhile, Scaryolive is of course hoping that you find an ice rod on Laser Bridge, which would be the most convenient thing for not having to double dip this dungeon.
Oh, and we are boots locked in desert.
Oh, well, that...
I'm just going to put something to you.
Go
Where
for
do you
it.
think the flippers are? Because that makes the flippers required.
The flippers are somewhere stupid. Obviously, they're... God, it's hard. It's really hard because I had a dumb seed lately with like a sphere 8 flippers logically required for it was a sphere 7 flippers for a sphere 8 fire rod and waterfall. Obviously, we don't have specifically that here, but like the flippers can be surprisingly late in logic.
So that's what's so important. Even if you don't intend to ever pick up the lamp, knowing where it is an extremely important and valuable piece of information. In this case, that lamp is giving us all kinds of data as to where our logic is going to expect us to go. And I have a feeling that we're about to see flippers on Olive's side of the screen.
Shovel flippers, yeah, maybe. He didn't come up with anything else at a TR, so he's going to have to go back there later to finish off. And we know, assuming Wulfy doesn't make that play as well, he'll be able to one-shot that dungeon after he's got the ice rod.
Oh, it's even worse. It's a shovel quake.
Oh,
and
wow.
Bad news for Wulfy. And in a way, it's kind of good news for Wulfy as well, because everything's going to be in a straight line for him after desert.
All right, so Desert Ledge was not significant enough to merit grabbing. Okay, got it.
All right, so there's one issue for Olive here, is he does not have the magic to open up Mire.
Does he have that other blue potion? No, he burned it earlier. He's got no magic. Wow. I think that's going to be a quick trip to Potion Shop to refill.
And yeah, that's sounding like now the flippers logically have to be in Misery Mire. Which of course means that the East Death Mountain play to get the shovel, to get the Quake, earlier than going into TR is looking required.
Oh, just a heart piece. Okay.
The other elephant in the room that we haven't really talked about so far is where is the Ice Rod? Because we just saw Olive go through all of TR. And he has not unearthed that cold rod just yet.
Landmost giving us just a big 20, so that's one more check that it's not the Ice Rod.
And I was saying that's one advantage that Wulfy might have on Scaryolive as well, is if Ice Rod is as bad as the pedestal, he has 2 pendant dungeons to Olive's 0.
Olive takes a chance on Desert, finds the map in the map chest, and says, well, guess I need boots for that. I mean, it could be an Ice Rod Ped, chat. It's entirely possible. There's not a lot else that can be on Ped, considering Swamp is a green pendant, but Ice Rod's always possible.
You know, outside of that, the pedestal's actually looking pretty dead here.
Yeah, like I said, there's not much else that can be there. We know the flute isn't there, of course. Flippers can't be. Mirror can't be. Lamp, we know where that is. Yeah, it's pretty much like Ice Rod or nothing.
That's the other thing, too. The way this seed has laid itself out, even if it's not on a pedestal, there are any number of awfully isolated locations that could have the Ice Rod for us. Yeah,
Wulfy,
if you're joining us,
go to Catfish.
are on the Lumberjack Ledge. It was the first bow we saw, and then we saw a second bow out of logic on the Old Man.
I think Wulfy's running a Catfish. Maybe Pyramid Catfish now.
You want to unravel this some more? The flippers lock the first bow, Addy. They lock both bows, actually.
The seed is dumb.
I'm starting to feel like there's going to be an Ice Rod in Swamp Palace.
Let's see, what did I say it was? I said Quake in Swamp Palace, so I was wrong there, but I can take a backup and call it Ice Rod. Sure, why not? We'll call an audible on that.
And you know, that's the other thing, too. Both of these runners, their teams earlier this week have already tasted a little bit of Ice Rod Hunt that ended in a very, very interesting way.
All right, Wulfy at an hour 16 finally comes across his flute.
So
I'm sure he's going to be kicking himself for that, but like at the same time, he's also had a lot to do that doesn't require the flute, so it's not like he was stuck for options.
So all that time that it looked like he might be behind, now Wulfy is certainly ahead because he has those boots and desert already cleared.
Yeah, and he's going to activate that, and then I don't see any reason he doesn't go straight to Mire. What else are you going to do? At least let's hope he goes to Mire. Let's hope he doesn't go for TR. But I think at this point he goes for Mire because you just got the flute. You know you have full access to Mire. That's a dungeon you can full clear as opposed to one you don't necessarily know you can. Is that a Galaxy Brain emote? I love it.
So we know one thing for absolute certain here. Both of these runners are last locating the mirror.
Vanilla, big key.
You shouldn't have. Really, you shouldn't have.
Thanks, Meyer.
Meyer's still not coughing anything up here.
Yeah, just a pile of dungeon items so far.
So it's got to be here, right? It's got to be.
Where else is it gonna be? Yeah.
I can see it just not letting us see it in the big chest and making us wait for the last one. There it is.
Yep, there's that mirror. Okay.
Now, the real question is this check flippers? No. There's an item on Vitreous. It is locked by lamp. We know where the lamp is. We are now fully in logic. So we're just going to go ahead and do this in the dark here. And again, Wulfy's got that sword advantage, so his fight with Vitreous is going to be a lot easier.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's right. We don't have the flippers yet.
No, we're not completely logical yet. Like, mirror opens up puts some of it in, but like we're still anything that's in a dark room that doesn't have a torch, we're still out of.
Flippers on Bombos, anybody? I'm seeing K45, I'm seeing Graveyard Ledge, I'm seeing Checkerboard, but nobody happens to remember Bombos' medallion tablet is still a thing. And so is Mimic Cave. This mirror is gating a heap of isolated mess.
Also, Pendant Swamp, yeah.
No flippers, though. You know how many times...
What if Vitreous has the flippers?
Well, Vitreous can't have the flippers because it logically requires the lamp.
What if we're wrong and there's a logic error that works in my favor?
That Monopoly card bank error in your favor.
Collect 200 flippers.
That's a lot of water toes.
This scene is so dumb. It's breaking my head. I'm trying to analyze it. I just can't. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to carry the logic on this one. I'm sorry.
That's what we have chat for. And I wouldn't say just chat, because we do have a tracker helping us out in the background too. We haven't shouted them out yet today. It is Yoinker's wife giving us a little help on the buttons and reminding us how many items are in Thieves Town. Thank you, Yoinker's wife, for helping us out. And of course, it's been over an hour and we're on a little bit of a hunt here, so I'm going to invite you to follow these runners and anybody that's participating in League, whether you're in the Invitational or you are playing in the Open Series. Good luck to all of our runners, and this is one heck of a show so far. Let's hope it continues.
It seems been interesting to watch, because normally around the hour-ish mark, you've got kind of like that point at which both runners they're overlapping. They're cleaning up things the other runner has done, but there's really not been any of that. They've both been like always pulling up something new for us in terms of information.
What if Vitreous has the ice rod?
Scary. Okay. They're really close on this. One part left.
That does open one other thing for our runners here. Because Meyer was the other 5/6 crystal. Alright, we're going to have a look at Checkerboard Cave. This could be the answer. It could not. Let's find out. It's just another hard container. We see Wulfy with 14 and Olive with 12, so I don't think either runner is going to opt to pick that one up.
No, at this point, you're feeling pretty good on health. These guys they're good enough that they can execute the rest of the scene with that health level. No problem.
Is Olive doing what I think he's doing? He's going to Graveyard Ledge.
Okay.
Honestly, again, with only so many locations left, I mean, Olive's looking for boots or ice rod.
And Graveyard Ledge at this point is never really it's not going to get any less isolated, so may as well just knock it out.
And yeah, chat pointing out he hasn't been back to Thieves Town yet either, so if he's still on the hunt for boots, that might be somewhere he decides to go. And he's got the back of Eastern as well, leaving 2 items in there.
Yep, 2 in Eastern, 2 in Thieves.
Now, we saw Olive do this with the Master Sword. Wulfy has a little bit easier of a time with the Tempered Sword, that NMG spin strat on Vitreous, taking out the Giant Eyeball. As, once again, nothing showing up for us in Graveyard Ledge as well.
This might be a play to swamp.
Well, it can't be. We
Well,
still
no, you're
don't have
There's still no flippers. Where are the flippers? I hate it. Where are they? Seriously?
Oh, this is probably the play to Bombos tablet.
You're right, yeah.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back up to pick up that sword that's waiting on Spectacle Rock as we get towards the end game here. But first you have to find out where your Ice Rod is. Wulfy, where are you going?
Is he going PR? Oh, no.
The only way this works out for Wulfy, the only way. There's the flippers on Bombo's tablet. Who called that?
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
I should have called it. Yeah. I should have said, I was thinking, like, oh, what if flippers on Bombo's tablet? Yeah.
So
now it's swamp time.
The only way this works out for Wulfy is if Ice Rod's a Mimic Cave.
That'd be stupid.
Because if Ice Rod is waiting in Swamp Palace, Olive is going to have a decided advantage.
I mean, I put it there, and I'm gonna stick to my guns, but for Wulfy's sake, let's hope I'm wrong.
Oh, we could still see Ice Rod pedestal. Oh,
Yeah, look at it.
awful. A green pendant too. Because Ice Rod can be anywhere that isn't behind Trinex in GT. The only 2 places it can't be.
If it is a pedestal Ice Rod, then that sort of bodes well for Wulfy, because Scaryolive will have to make dips back into 2 pendant dungeons he bailed out of. So it that gives some time back to Wulfy in that respect. Olive gets a shield stolen by the picket.
I'm going to bet Olive does not care about that shield going missing.
No, probably not. Right, so we're basically gonna be watching Olive through this swamp play with bated breath, waiting for where's that Ice Rod. If it gets coughed up in swamp, then that's yeah. I mean, I'll be in a way glad to be right, but also upset.
I mean, it isn't GG on its own, because it depends on how long it takes for Olive to get to his boots.
Yeah.
All that time without the flippers, and all I can think about is flippers. Yo, Pendant Swamp, you don't want to come in here. except when you absolutely have to come in here. So what's worse? Hammerless Swamp for first check, Hookshotless Swamp, or Pendant Swamp?
I mean, objectively speaking, Hammerless Swamp is terrible because you have to dig it for literally one check. I feel like Hookshotless Swamp feels worse. Because I have a worse place for Hammer that's my most hated place for it, and that's being Ice Palace Big Chest. But that's a completely different story.
Ooh, Hammerless Ice Palace doesn't feel very good either. Luckily, we have the Hammer in Sphere 1 on this seed.
Yeah, finding Hammer early is just like, it's such a relief because there are terrible places that Hammer can be, and immediately taking all of those off the table is just, it's really nice. All right,
Yeah.
Compass Chest, another heart piece.
Oh, he's going straight back.
He's gonna take the semi-go mode route. Yeah, I don't hate this actually. When you're like go -1. Well, no, Olive is not go -1. He is still. He needs 2 items. I think if you're go -2, I think you still just full clear it just right off the bat.
He's going to have a look at what's in Mimic Cave, and he only needs 1 item for this to be worth it.
Please give it to us. Please prove me wrong. It's blue,
Blue, but it's not what we're looking for.
Well, Wulfy's
we're
gonna have to
not
wait
seeing
Laser Bridge to get
anything
the bad news.
Oh, it's a bad feeling. Both runners are going to have to 2-time through Turtle Rock. There it is in the back of Swamp Palace.
Turns out I was right. Unfortunate.
So that kills the pedestal, chat. Sorry, any pet fans out there. It is dead. Long live the pet.
Well, at least when you're dipping TR again, you can just take a nice linear path down to the bottom. You don't have to stop up and get any checks, but it still hurts.
And this is kind of a good and a bad thing for Olive, because he has 2 dungeons he's left checks. He's got a couple isolated spots, and he still knows he needs boots to finish.
It's a matter of which does he, what does he do first? Because he's got, 2 items in Leavetown, 2 items in the back at Eastern, or in Eastern. Like, there are density checks he can make before going to Hobo. There's still a lot of potential for time loss here.
So right now, what it actually looks like is Wulfy's going to have to just beeline it straight to Swamp, because I believe that's still all he's going to have left outside of mirror checks.
Yeah, he's going to be in a very similar situation to Scaryolive. He's going to get done with Laser Bridge here, not have an Ice Rod, and then be like, well, I have a mirror, let's do mirror checks.
I mean, there's really nothing to check by saving a portal here. I think if you have to go to Swamp.
Going to 4.
And this is going to be the red bomb play for Scaryolive.
Or not.
Is it? I think he's just trying to...
Oh, Wulfy's doing the same thing.
Okay. This is interesting, as our runners have kind of reconvened here. both one item from Go mode. Both having only one dungeon really left to do before Turtle Rock. In the Wulfy's case, it is Swamp Palace. In Scaryolive's case, it is Desert.
So at least for Wulfy, he doesn't have to worry about killing Argus. Once he's got that ice rod in the waterfall, he can just bail out, and he's in actual Go mode. So for him, we'll hope he does the semi-Go mode route. And of course, Pyramid Fairy having basically nothing for us here.
That does mean Wulfy has to find the flippers, which means he's going to be in mirror check mode for a few minutes here.
Yeah. Yeah, we need him to go to Bombo's tablet immediately.
And he is going straight to Graveyard Ledge, which from here it actually makes sense, because it's just a hook across the river.
Oh, yeah.
And Olive, remembering Hobo, is going to be first into Go mode.
Yep, this is big. He'll finally stumble upon his boots.
And that means at 1 hour, 33 minutes, and almost 34, Scaryolive is the first of our two runners in Go mode, and he has one goal and one goal only, Flute to Desert.
And we need Wulfy to flute to 4 and go through the portal and check Bombo's tablet, please.
And it's still a lot closer than it really appears on the screen here.
Yeah, that lamp was never getting collected, to be perfectly honest. When are either of these high-skill runners going to go out of their way to get a lamp on Lake Hylia Island? But at least we can finally put this dumb seed together.
Maybe hold it together with a little bit of glue or something, I don't know. You know, and either runner could have gotten the lamp. I don't think Olive even looked at the lamp unless he swam by it. Wulfy has known that the lamp has been there for most of the seed, so he's been able to base a lot of his logical decisions around the location of it. So this works out for Wulfy. Go Bombos, go straight to Swamp, get an Ice Rod, and go directly to TR.
It's definitely one of those seeds that if you can do like a really good job like kind of figuring out the logic in your head while you're playing, which admittedly I'm not great at. So like this seed would have probably wrecked me. But if you can keep track of all that and kind of piece it together, seeing a lamp on Hylia Island is hugely informative. Like it's a big piece of a logic puzzle is what it is. And I definitely envy people who can raise it to a high tier and be able to like just kind of think about it while they're still making optimal execution. I'm like, I wish I could be that good. But yeah, they've definitely shown that off today because you know both these guys are constantly thinking like, oh man, there's a lamp there. What does that put? Where is that in the logic? What does that lock? What's locked by it, etc. So let's hope that Wulfy goes straight to the back of Swamp, and that will minimize the time difference and keep this honestly pretty close, because these guys, I think, are going to be in TR at relatively similar times.
And chat pointing out one thing that we've been talking about. With Olive not checking Ice Rod Cave, the only other sword that we know about is on Spectacle Rock. Now, it'll be interesting to see whether or not he decides to go for that sword for Tempered, or bank on a sword being in GT.
It's a good call, actually, yeah. I keep forgetting about that sword. It's been so long since you've seen it, I'm just like, oh, there's a sword somewhere. I don't remember where it is. Or I don't know. I thought we hadn't seen it. Yeah, it definitely seems reasonable for Scaryolive to just do a quick trip to pick that up and then head across the mountain for it. I mean, why not?
It's definitely worth it. It is a little bit longer of a mountain climb, but that Tempered Sword saves you so much time moving forward.
I mean, the Ganon fight alone, that's a huge, huge difference. And yeah, they know for sure they're not getting silvers because that other bow is on Lumberjack, and they're not a chance that either of these guys was ever getting that once they found another bow.
So here it is, and that means Scaryolive is going to be the first of the 2 runners to get into their Gomo TR as well. But Wulfy's going to be right behind him by maybe a minute or so. Unless he decides to go for left side swamp. And I don't think you have to play left side swamp in this situation. Go -1. You just bank on it being in back, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the back has greater check density in general, so...
I don't think we saw any... oh, is he really? Oh.
That's unfortunate.
I don't remember seeing more than 1 dungeon item, so knowing of only 1 item on left side, I think you skip it.
Yeah, because we got items out of both the first check and the compass chest.
So this is going to be at least 1 dungeon item. We are seeing some diver down tech from Wulfy, though, with the King of Samaria instead of the bombs. We saw Scaryolive use the bombs in the back swimming pool.
Definitely one of the most useful tricks that's been discovered in the past several months. Lets you take some nice, efficient pathing through the left side of swamp. And saves you a little bit of time in the basement as well, but not nearly as much as left side.
So these are 2 items Scaryolive didn't see because he didn't need to. Let's find out what they are. It's a map. And a big 20.
Imagine that.
That
An
was
old
the
big
compass, either on Argus or in the big chest.
The compass is on Argus, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember that dropping. Did you know there are 28 big 20s in the pool? That's why we see so many of them.
Did you know that's only 560 rupees? Even if you found every big 20 in the game, you still can barely pay Zora.
So 300 rupees, really saving the day. Oh, Wulfy misplacing a little bit there. Second attempt at it, no problem. And then just one more check, he's going to get his ice rod and be able to immediately bail out and get up the mountain.
The issue here is he is a couple minutes behind Scaryolive now, so he's got a bit of ground to make up.
Yeah, not quite as close as I thought they would be, but yeah, he did decide to opt for left side swamp. Yeah, this variable could turn into how does GT shake out? If we see them take drastically different routes and one finds the key before the other, it could be a race maker.
With or without considering GT, there's also the Ganon fight. We have seen some falls in this tournament already in the first 2 weeks. One of them big enough to swing a race, so anything can happen here in these final minutes.
It's always possible, yeah. Regardless of how confident in practice you can be with that Ganon fight, sometimes you just get into a weird position and then a firebite eats you on phase 4 and that'll do it.
Oh, that is such a rude hitbox position for that dead rock.
You know, so you can just run off screen and despawn them and try again.
So, chat, if you can count to 7, you know what time it is.
There are Indeed, 22 locations with that big key. We're just going to say, get your guesses in quick because there's really not going to be much time here. Put those guesses in. Where's that key going to be? 1 to 22. If you win, we'll give you some points on our leaderboard.
I don't know. How do you feel about 9?
9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Willard J. Bradley, one of our chat mods here, is thinking really, really excitedly about the number 9.
Willard, where's our swords at, yo? Not in Swamp Palace? Bad seed.
All right, so looks like Olive's going to go Hope Room first. Completely reasonable. One's a small
2 and
two
right.
And he's going to go right. Okay. What if he goes full right? Man, that would be spicy.
Swamp Palace. Chad having a little bit of fun with words with us here. Wulfy going that, skipping the big chest, having already gotten it.
Yeah, even with being able to linearly scream your way through TR, it's still a long dungeon, even just going right to the bottom without checking stuff.
Olive having a little bit of an issue with the Gibdos here. And it's not here, so 1 through 6 not paying out for us.
Compass in the compass room, go figure. And he's going to build a left.
It was Vanilla Compass, even.
Also completely reasonable.
I was going to say, what if it was on the torch?
After all this, it'd be kind of silly.
It'd almost be poetic. Sorry, 8, 9, 10, 11. And there it is, top right of the Stalfos room.
10 is the winner.
That would be a big furry monster with a 10. Good job. You get some internet guessing points, and Willard right behind us with a 9. I don't know. How do you feel about 9?
I'm still on the leaderboard.
As Wulfy dispatches Trinex, he'll be going back in. We'll see if he goes right or left.
Yep, for his sake, of course, we hope he just goes full left to start with and stumbles upon it like it'll be like number 4 for him.
And that means right now, I think that they have it pretty close to about a minute and a half, sort of, you know, depending on how this climb goes for Olive. It's really not that far apart.
Oh yeah, this is definitely still in the realm of, like, pure execution purely could change this race. Scaryolive's going to give us a show of when you have Half Magic and Fire Rod and the GT Gauntlet, just do it. It's such a good combination of things to have in these 5 rooms. Even just for the red Stalfos, because the nice thing is they don't burn. When you hit them with a Fire Rod shot, they're just immediately dead.
Wulfy has gone to Hope Room first, so he's gonna unearth the key. We'll see if he decides to go right. No, he mirrors right out.
Okay, he's going left with it. Good. He's going to be happy to make this choice, of course. He'll save a little bit of time by not going to Compass Room.
And Gauntlet 5, as it does with those ice physics, giving Olive, again, a little bit of a scare, but not enough so, because, you know, Lammo is pretty straightforward.
That was a beautiful one-cycle Lammo.
And now it's Wulfy's turn to go into the climb.
Nice
I don't
done,
usually
Wizard.
see that dash in the Wizard of 2 room.
I like it, though,
Pretty
actually. I may have to try to adapt that because I personally still have issues with that room. It's one of the dumbest rooms to execute for whatever reason. I'm going to have to try that. We don't need anything on a mini helm room. We've got 2 keys. He's going to check anyway. One, just one check, not both of them, just one.
I never understand why you only check one of the chests. I realize this at this point it was the left check, so you're kind of already there.
But we're like, what are you looking for here? I mean, there's not really much you can find.
Well, he still doesn't know where that 4th sword is.
Yeah, I guess. Gold sword big of a deal, though.
Right, gold sword, unless at this level it doesn't really save a lot of time because a lot of these runners are used to doing silverless with tempered. So I mean, red mail, again, not something you really need here.
We'll back down for the Mulrum chest. One more heart for the road. Okay.
Now Wulfy has made it through the gauntlet. He's going to be on Lammo 2, but it looks like Olive is going to fall into the Ganon pit first.
Wulfy's Landmos were less kind on their RNG. He's going to end up having a 3 cycle. Let's see how our Aga 2 fight goes here. I like this setup. I liked it when it wasn't a blue ball.
The more traditional slash in Wizard of 2, that's what I'm used to seeing. This Aga's got some interesting patterns, and now he's way out of sync.
Yeah, the desync is going to start making things awkward here.
And that should do it, though, for Aga 2.
I still double finish it. Not the best Aga 2 overall, but that fight can get really tricky really fast. Just it's so RNG heavy, and some certain patterns are just like really hard to work with.
You see, Wulfy's really closed this gap, as now he's already going up to Moldworm here.
Moldworm was a bit tricky with the movement there, but Wulfy did not fall. That's what's important. And Scaryolive is in the Ganon fight. Got a nice corner pattern here. He can sit in the top right and just spin away. Already into phase 3.
That was a nice 1-in-1 from Olive.
Yeah, it really was.
Here it's pretty much smooth sailing.
Keep the execution solid, don't take a fall on phase 4, and this will be the race. As GFE says, don't pull a GFE. Wise advice.
And that was a pretty quick Aga 2 for Wulfy, so he's going to be most of a Ganon fight behind here.
Alright, Silverless Ganon with Tempered Sword. 12 spins are necessary to defeat the pig. That's 6 so far. Wulfy got the nice spin against the trident.
It's always really tense seeing the spin setup with Fire Rod. You can usually get some triples if he goes into kinder positions. But Olive not going for it.
Yeah, he's keeping things consistent with doubles, and that'll do it.
And that is a Ganon down for Scaryolive. Get those GGs, seeing them spammed in the chat.
We're going to have an official
Scaryolive
time
will tackle this bridge.
And that's going to be an official time for Scaryolive on racetime.gg of 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 59 seconds.
And Wulfy right behind him. Yeah, that Fire Rod torch glitch. Good timing for that.
He's going to go for triples here.
So exactly as it was built, it came out to be very close in the end, Adalor.
Yeah, no, this was I wasn't wrong. It's quite a close race indeed, for a number of reasons, of course. Rando be rando, and there were a bunch of items in dumb, stupid, tricky spots in this one. And even after all that divergence and having to hunt down different items on both sides, they still came out, I think, what's going to be less than 2 minutes apart here. And that's going to be it for Wulfy.
And Wulfy will finish with a time of 1:54 and 20. And let's get some more GGs for both of these runners. That was one heck of a seed and one heck of a show.
And while we're watching the credits here on both sides, we will, of course, see if we can get both of these guys in for an interview, should they so desire.
If you want to talk about a seed that wants to do something absolutely crazy, put the flippers in a bad spot, put the mirror in a bad spot, put the lamp in a bad spot. Try to unravel that puzzle, as we are joined by the winner, Scaryolive, in the voice chat. GG, Olive.
Thank you. This one was special. I really didn't think I was gonna win this, especially after the Turtle Rock play and finding nothing in there. I was like, okay, I'm toast. But I kept going, and I don't know how it happened, but I got the win here.
We've also got Wulfy joining us here.
GG to Wulfy as well, yeah. So on the topic of the Turtle Rock play, that was a dip that both of you made. So there was really no time difference there.
Okay, yeah, but it felt really bad. Like I was like, okay, what are the odds that there's nothing? It's suspicious that it's open, and I really forgot about the book and the shovel. So I was like, I have really not good options here. So I went for it, and then those boots, man, they were really, really annoying at the end there. I could have gotten them so earlier when I did the ice, when I did my flipper checks, and that was just like the cherry on cake of like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, there was so much behind flippers in this seed, and the flippers themselves were just like, really? You put them there of all places?
Yeah. At least it was a good for the ice rod after, because you're just like, well, I've got to go inside of swamp, So
yes.
that was the good part, but otherwise it felt so bad. Like I got happy with my early flute, but otherwise after that it was downhill.
And this seed really came be like a game of two locations because you got the flute really early, but you missed on the boots for so long, despite going around and doing most of the flipper checks around them. And Wulfy was early to the boots, and he's had them for most of the run.
Wow.
Well, kind of early. It was like 40 minutes in or something.
Relatively early, yeah. Yeah, I mean the big takeaway there though, but each of you had like the significant mobility item much earlier than the other runner, and it led to like after all of this, after all these crazy locations for different items, you still finish less than 2 minutes apart. Like that in itself is just it's wild. I both hate and love this seed.
I mostly just hate it.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm with
bit.
Wulfy here.
So, Wulfy, what were you thinking when you first saw that lamp on the Hylia Island? Because that pretty much told everything you needed to know logically, I think.
Yeah, just told me that flute wasn't on the mountain, which made me very suspicious of Smith Chain. Unfortunately, I kind of forgot about Pyramid Catfish for a while. Otherwise, I probably would have done that before Smith Chain. That would have saved a good chunk of time. I remembered it when I was doing my shovel check just to kind of stall for time.
Shovel check ended up being kind of important for you. Olive, of course, having the flute early, was able to see that Meyer's entrance was Quake, but Quake was nowhere to be found until you went and found that shovel out of Super Bunny.
Yeah. I wish I didn't do Steve's Town, Skullwoods. What is it called? Turtle Rock, and went in for that. But you never. After it's easy to say, but
I feel like in that situation, you kind of have to go for the ice rod in Turtle Rock, rather than like doing all the scattered mirror checks.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I had the mirror yet.
Yeah, Olive, you were there. You were in TR doing that dip before mirror, actually.
Yeah. That's why I have regrets.
Yeah, I wasn't very interested in going into TR before then because I had seen the lamp on Hylia Island, so I knew flute couldn't be in there, and I knew I needed flute. So
Yeah. I never saw the lamp. I really hate the flipper checks. I like it when I have the boots, so I can do the walk on water. So I always keep the ice rod cave for that. And when the boots are in the flippers, it always wrecks me. So I like to do it with the boots, or otherwise oboe with the mirror. So I got the mirror so late. I finally got it out of the way, but yeah, that cost me.
And Ice Rod itself actually would have been really worth it because Wulfy came up with I think that was your Master Sword out of Ice Rod, actually.
Yep.
Oh, there was a sword there? Oh.
Yeah, there was a sword in Ice Rod Cave, yes.
Well.
You just got the one on Spec Rock instead.
Yeah, on my way to Ganon's Tower. Well, on my way to Turtle Rock, second time, I went from the top. Well, I'm happy that I got the points for my team. I mean, good stuff. I have a week off now this week for casual boots, so I'm gonna enjoy my teammates, and feels good.
Yeah, both of your teams. This was a very well played week for the four runners that were presented. Splitting this series 1-1. How do you two feel about going into casual boots next week?
Well, I'm sitting out casual boots week, but wishing the best for my teammates.
Yeah, same. Like I said, I won't be playing it because I'm the least good runner, and the boots are good. But yeah, I'm feeling like we can get actually two wins next week. Zero rush. It's gonna be hard. Against Gunwald also, but our team is good, so I don't know. It's such a very, very hard league and division that you never know, man. Every team can win every week. I feel like on a good day. So.
Yeah. This invitational tournament is just utterly stacked with talent. Like, you look at any division in this tournament, you can say, "Oh, that's just a hard division." Like, nobody's got it easy. So to even get like the 6 points you do have, like, you know, those were all good fights and tough wins for those. So it's really, again, like, congratulations to the wins you do have so far and the one today. Like, you both played it really well.
Thank you.
That's kind of a trend we've seen with the league. Even in these first 2 weeks, you've only seen a total of 4 games run by each team by the end of the night tonight, and every game has been pretty close. There's been a lot of shaves, a lot of swing plays, and a lot of getting randoed, and it can happen to anyone on any given day here.
I mean, that's the name of the game, Randomizer. If you don't like it, go play NMG. That's what I say. Oazi when he complains.
All right, either of you two have any final thoughts for us on this seed or the league moving forward here?
It's a GG to Wulfy again, and their team. Good wins from Jackaris. It was a nice week, and thanks for commentary, tracking, and everything on the broadcast side.
Yep, GG. That's it for me too.
All right, once again, a big thank you to Wulfy and Scaryolive. Really well played game. One heck of a seed. Kind of a rude seed, really. And that'll do it for week 2 for these two teams, both of them winning 1 game out of their 2 against each other, respectively.
The shout out to our the runners in the chat. Go ahead and give them a follow with their links there. Shout outs as well to our crew for this race, myself and Zaru. It's been a pleasure commentating with you. Big thank you as well to our tracker, Yorker's wife, keeping things updated on the back end. Can never give enough love for our trackers. So without them, we'd be so very lost. If you're looking for more rando today in the Invitational League, we have 3 more matches coming up at 6:10 Eastern. We're going to have on Speed Gaming Main, twitch.tv/Speed Gaming. We've got Sailor Nep versus Hitsuyan 1337, representing the 2019 Titans Miss of 2019 versus We Are the Imposters. At the same time on Speed Gaming 4, we've got Pug Trio versus the Sexy Ganons with Futon versus Fent. And then at 8:10 Eastern, also on Speed Gaming 4, the Immortals versus Waffle House Drive-Thru, featuring Joel Ninja versus Salty Fry. So 3 more matches to watch if you're looking for more rando action. They are coming up later today.
And if you've liked what you've seen here and you've given these runners a follow, make sure you keep an eye on all 6 of our main Speed Gaming channels for league action. You can check out the VODs of previous games to see how those shook out. And you've got more coming up in week 3. We're going to be playing Casual Boots. We're going to be going fast. I'd also like to invite you to follow all of our foreign language channels. We have one for Espanol, we have Portuguese, we have Francois, and we have... I can't even pronounce the German one.
Français.
I can't pronounce the German one either.
It's like a surname, but yeah, speak à mi français.
Yes, we have all those channels as well. If you happen to speak another language and you want to see some of the simulcasts that we have on League, there are a few of those as well. But that's going to do it for us today here on Speed Gaming 5. Adelor, do you want to take us home?
Yeah, I'm going to look forward to getting out of here and cleansing myself of the grossness that was this seed. But it has been an absolute pleasure. Again, thank you to everyone that's been involved, the runners and the crew. Can't thank everyone enough. Thank you again to all of your viewers for being here. And we hope to see you again for a race later today. Until then, so long and take care.